Zootopia gear is here. Get your paws on it before they do.
Hello, animal things. Austin here, and I've made no secret my allegiance to the DreamWorks brand. But could you really blame me? Growing up as a kid in the early 2000s, DreamWorks was releasing awesome movies like The Road to El Dorado, the Shrek films, and Over the Hedge, while Disney was releasing absolute crud like Chicken Little and the Teacher's Pet movie. However, that would all change in the 2010s with a movie called Zootopia. This film had it all: action, romance, dark political themes, finally a Disney movie with some teeth. It would make over $900 million at the box office, and it would be re-released every summer afterwards. Eventually the film passed $1 billion. But let's say you went to one of those re-releases for Zootopia. You take your kids with you, and they want some Zootopia toys. Or heck, maybe you want some Zootopia collectibles. The movie is pretty awesome after all. Well, from about 2017 to I would say last month, you would be fresh out of luck. Finding Zootopia merchandise at a regular retailer was trying to find a bottle of water in the Saharan desert. Why? Because Zootopia merchandise failed. That's right, Disney, the company behind merchandising every animated movie, actually had $1 billion movie with merchandise they couldn't market. But it's not like they didn't try. If you were on the Zootopia hype train like I was, and let me tell you, I went to Disneyland dressed as Nick Wilde a year before the movie came out and nobody even knew who I was, then you had a bountiful Zootopia merchandise push. It was everywhere. You couldn't escape this movie. Target went all in, going as far to call themselves the hub for all things Zootopia. There was plush and bedding, useless crap like that. But today, I really want to talk about the action figures made by Tomy, because this line was a huge failure, and I feel like it shouldn't have been. The best way I can describe Tomy's Zootopia line is confident. There were action figures, playsets, and vehicles, unusual for a company that had little experience in the action figure business. I think Tomy's only real presence at US retailers at the time was their abysmal Sonic the Hedgehog line. It was strange, but cool to see. The figures came on nice rounded card backs, although the packaging did vary depending on which country you were in. Included was one articulated animal figure, usually between 2.5 to 3.5 inches, depending on the character's size, and a small non-articulated animal. The basic lineup included Nick Wilde with Fennec, Judy Hopps with Mayor Assistant Bellwether, Kevin the Polar Bear with Mr. Big, Clawhauser with a Bat Eyewitness, Mayor Lionheart with the Lemming, and Officer McHorn with the Safety Squall. Some retailers in foreign markets got this 3-pack that included Judy, McHorn, and Clawhauser. Target had an exclusive World of Zootopia set that included all of the basic figures, although the deco is unique for all of these. Some of these fashions are so funky, like seeing Nick in a pink button-up, or Judy in a solid black uniform like some sort of SWAT outfit. It's so strange, I can't help but love it. Another large set was called Operation Redwood, and included Nick Wilde, some of the mice, Fennec, and the racist elephant that owns the ice cream shop. Hey, you have to have your bad guys if you're playing Zootopia. There were 3 vehicles, including Judy's Meter Maid car, which came with an exclusive Meter Maid Judy and Weaselton, a set called Mr. Otterton's Capture that included the wolf bad guy and Mr. Otterton, and a van to presumably perform the capture in, and Nick Wilde's car, which also came with a Meter Maid sign for Judy to ticket. There was even a playset for Zootopia, also exclusive to Target, called Danger in the Rainforest District. This included Mr. Manchez's house from the middle of the movie. The playset even has a feature where Mr. Manchez can be inserted into the house, and with the push of a button, goes savage. That was Tomy's basic offerings, but do you notice something strange about this lineup? Who the heck was Safety Squall, and why does Nick Wilde have a car? Zootopia infamously had a horrible production history. The movie ran into all sorts of delays, and the final film we see is some sort of Frankensteinian creation made at last second in the editing bay. Because of this, a lot of companies and licensees really got screwed over and were stuck with merchandise based on earlier versions of the film. There are multiple figures of characters that aren't even in the movie. The Bat Eyewitness and the Safety Squall come to mind. Officer McHorn barely appears in the movie, but I'm willing to forgive that one because his action figure is so cool, it's still sold anyways. Nick and Judy figures disappeared off the shelves, as did the Meter Maid car and the large multi-packs, and stores were left with an absolute glut of Clawhauser, Kevin, Mayo Lionheart, and the Rainforest District playset. Most kids probably saw that giant Zootopia shelf display at Target, looked at it once or twice, and realized there were no Nick and Judys available, and took a hard pass on this toy line. Tomy planned on releasing a second batch of Zootopia merchandise. The figures would have expanded with a new wave, which would have included much-needed re-releases of Nick and Judy. They would have been joined by Chief Bogo and Flash, two characters that I guarantee you would have sold a lot better than what we got. We also would have gotten Phoenix Van added to the vehicle lineup, complete with awesome 80s Foley artwork on the side. Most of the second wave didn't release. We only got 3 products, but thankfully they're the 3 best. The first was a Judy Hopps role playset, which includes a plastic police badge and a replica Carrot pen recorder just like the one Judy carries. Don't get this one mixed up with the Disney Store version, which has a large, goofy-looking photo of Judy on the front. This one is much more accurate, and is extremely desirable among the cosplay community. The next item was Judy Hopps ZPD Cruiser, the best vehicle of the Zootopia line. Not only is it awesome and looks just like the cop car Judy receives at the end of the movie, but you can seat both Nick and Judy in the driver's seat. It's got sirens, lights, and sound, and it's even got a cage in the back for baddies. The final item of the Zootopia lineup was the Zootopia Police Station playset. This has all the hallmarks of a great action figure playset. It's got a lot of space for characters to move around, tons of little nooks and crannies to stuff the various sized animals, jail cells for bad guys, computer monitoring screens for tracking evil thugs. There's even a gimmick where it can project bad guy mugshots onto the screen so Nick and Judy can go out on their next mission. The playset even includes Chief Bogo's office, complete with a spot for Bogo to stand. I guess Tomy thought they'd get that figure to market, huh? What's great about the ZPD playset is that it looks great from both angles. You can turn the playset around, and the exterior looks exactly like the police station from the movie. This is a must-have for any Zootopia fan. It's a shame this product was released so late in the game. I think had it been released earlier, this definitely would have been a hot seller. Tomy wanted us to build the world of Zootopia, but even if you populate the police station with all the figures they made, it still feels lacking. It's kind of unfortunate that the 2 auxiliary characters that Tomy ignored, Flash the Sloth and the nude yak guy from the Nudist Club, are probably the only 2 that audiences remember. Ask any person on the street who Kevin the Polar Bear is, and they'll probably have no clue. It's sad because the figures are quite beautiful, with flawless sculpts and paint apps. There are also great small details in these toys. All of their tails can fit into the vehicles, because each vehicle has a slot where the figure's tail can slide into. Remember how Kevin, the bodyguard, holds Mr. Big in his hand? Well, the action figure was sculpted with a flat palm, so he can display the mob boss right in his hand. It's clear just by looking at these toys that this was no cash grab. Tomy was trying their all. They were a newcomer to the action figure business, at least in the USA, and they really wanted to make a splash with Zootopia. The most frustrating part about this toy line is that Cops and Robbers is such a tried and true formula. Kids love this play pattern. Back in the 1980s, they made action figures of Police Academy. Like, why would those movies get toys and a cartoon? Well, it's because it was Cops and Robbers, something every kid can love. Having a whole fleet of police officers complete with police station was just a fantasy every kid wanted to live, and Zootopia definitely could have been that. Another big problem with these toys is the lack of accessories. Nick and Judy have no gear, no gadgets. I'm not saying that Judy Hopps needs to be armed to the teeth with an AR-15, but a couple of handcuffs and maybe some snap-on battle armor ballistic vest, I don't know, something like that, would have really spiced up the line. Heck, maybe the line could have included more variants of Nick and Judy. Some of the figures they made are way inaccurate and feature very goofy outfits. So why not just dial that up to an 11 and give us stuff like Batman, maybe Nick and Judy with Arctic ski gear or something goofy like that. I could tell you without a fact that whole case assortments of Nick and Judy would have sold tenfold. but instead, Tomy focused on characters like Clawhauser, and the line just piled up the pegs. There was so much variety in this line, but it's just a shame that's also why the line failed. Tomy truly tried everything, and it didn't work out. Most Disney movies have a long shelf life after their release. There are still toys today for Encanto at your local Target, but Zootopia died by 2016, and there were virtually no toys for this movie. Sure, there were some lovely collector figures, including some truly excellent 6-inch offering from Bandai, that are without a doubt the definitive Zootopia action figures. But these are high-end adult collectibles, and unless you're a die-hard Zootopia fan or in the know, you probably don't even know these existed. Last fall, Disney wisely pulled the Disney action figure license from Super 7 and gave it to Mattel. And almost immediately, Mattel began giving us figures of classic Disney movies like Aladdin and The Lion King. I was hoping we would get Zootopia in this style. And lo and behold, this summer, we did. For the first time in 8 years, Nick and Judy began appearing as articulated action figures on store shelves. The Mattel Zootopia set is a one-off set. It's part of a Disney line that includes all of the Disney movies, but it offers us an amazing tease into what a Zootopia 2 toy line could be. Not only do we get Nick and Judy, but Flash is included. Mattel knew this was a character people wanted, and all 3 figures are fully articulated. The scale has also been switched. They're slightly bigger than the Tomy figures, more in line with 5 to 6-inch figures. Flash is big and beefy, while Judy is a small 4-inch figure. I think this scale works perfectly, because Zootopia has so many different sliding scales of animals, it's tough to pick one consistent format. While I think what Tomy did was valiant, the scale was so small that Judy was always going to be tiny, and being the main character of the Zootopia line, I always felt like Judy needed to have more of a presence. Where with the Mattel Judy, she's a little bigger, so you can get more detail on her police uniform and more ball-jointed articulation, essential for a flexible bunny in action situations. Still, there's no weapons included, but I'm willing to forgive that, because this Mattel line is aimed at a younger audience and just focused on building a Disney collection. It's not a Zootopia-specific line. There's no bad guys for Nick and Judy to catch. It's just Nick, Judy, and Flash. But these 3 figures are incredible. They're well-priced, they're well-articulated, and they look great on a shelf. Fun for kids, fun for collectors. That's the right way to do it. And with Zootopia 2 on the horizon, I have a strong feeling that Mattel will be the main licensee for this movie. After all, they did do huge toy lines for Toy Story and Lightyear. Zootopia has so much potential as a toy line. I hope Mattel goes balls to the wall with tons of variations of Nick and Judy and a whole host of baddies for them to catch. Heck, they don't even have to be movie accurate. They could just straight up make up animal criminals for Nick and Judy, and I think that would make an excellent and fun toy line. At the time of this video, the amount of Zootopia stuff you can collect is actually pretty limited. Shocking, I know, for a Disney movie that grossed over $1 billion. But you can make your own Zootopia collection. My personal pick are those 3 Mattel Zootopia figures, even over the Bandai ones. Don't get me wrong, those figures are amazing, but they're priced exorbitantly high, and the Mattel ones can be found at your local Target and Walmart. Mix them in with some of the Tomy figures and the excellent Tomy playset, and throw in the Disney Store Gazelle doll for good measure. She's a little tall, but remember, Shakira is pretty tall herself, so it'll work. And you've got a pretty decent Zootopia collection. Collecting Zootopia isn't perfect. It'll require a bit of legwork. But hey, it's called a hustle, sweetheart.